Before this video starts, a hypothetical. Assume for me that you are walking down a busy street, minding your own business. Suddenly, from the corner of your eye, you see a clown walking towards you and honking a horn. The clown then proceeds to follow you around and honk the horn right next to you, basically following you and honking the horn as he does so. What would be the most appropriate response to this event? You can't fight the clown, that would just start a scene. You can't reason with him because he doesn't talk back to you, and you don't feel like going to the police. The only acceptable response to this scenario, I believe, is to go to a party store, buy a clown horn, and start doing the same to them, basically following them and honking the horn, therefore giving them a taste of their own medicine. This video is me responding by honking the horn back. Zenimax Online Studios then. I am not joking when I say this. This company has the single worst communication skills of any company that I have ever interacted with, which is devastating to me because they develop the Elder Scrolls Online. And before anyone says anything about me being toxic, first of all, if you are one of those people, you drop this. And second of all, I would like to say that I always give the game developers an insane amount of goodwill. You will never see me bashing Emil Pegliarulo, Todd Howard, or any other game developer. I can say that I don't think that something they're doing is right, and I sure do at times. As long as they are respectful and mindful and don't blatantly ignore all feedback while also trashing the community, even if set from a perspective that I deem highly flawed, I am gonna be at least friendly to them and give them a nice chunk of benefit of the doubt. I don't know all the itty-bitties of game development and what they contribute, and I don't think that you should call for people to get fired or tell them that their perspectives are dog shit and that your perspective is the superior one. An opinion, for me, is always at least valid unless it is blatantly anti-consumer or anti-player in the case of gaming. So trust me when I say that ZOS is, and has been for the past few years, absolutely incapable of accepting any feedback beyond the extremely superficial and quite frankly useless, or communicating the game's problems to the players in a constructive manner. I don't even know where to start from. I'm looking at my notes of what this company has done to the community, and you know what it's like? It's genuinely like reading a drunken Discord mods power trip on main chat. I guess I'm gonna start with the more recent stuff and then branch off from there. New chapter, new chapter. Oh, sorry, we don't call them chapters anymore. We got a new system, new battle pass. We're going to the island of Solstice this time. Ever heard of it? No? Good, no one ever has. We made it up so we can plaster reused assets from the Somerset Isles and Markmire chapters. I will hereby call every single one of the plot points of the main quest of the new zone. There is a new threat by the Worm Cult, basically a bunch of necromancers, that threatens to destroy all of Tamriel. We will have to team up with characters seen in different chapters to take them down again. All that being said, the actual questing will be boring and static, with no difficulty, no rewards, just bland, slow dialogue, and the follow the compass formula. Do you have any idea how hard it is to feel invested for any plot point in this game when the rewards are dog shit, the dialogue visuals have not been updated in more than a decade, and the difficulty has put me to sleep before? Like seriously, I'm looking at the trailer and I can see maybe 2 new enemies. The rest is from 2014. It's been 11 years. Oh, and you just know that the last quest is just gonna be a clapping quest for the player. You have to sacrifice 5 billion soul gems to Mehrunes Dagon or threaten them to quit for them to make the last quest, not a clapping quest. You're not gonna convince me that they aren't Mehrunes Dagon cultists. They are obsessed with destroying their own stuff, preferably their community, alternatively Citadel, ideally both. According to an ancient Greek proverb, this is real. In the world where the scrolls are elder, the clapping quest is peak cinema. And it's not even like the chapter is the issue. I bet the chapter is gonna be fine. You can get too mad at slop. It's that they're hyping it up like it's gonna be a great battle, when in reality, I'll be able to beat the last boss with only one hand on the computer. And still, they keep playing it up like it's a threatening power. Brother, you know this game is a prequel, right? Like, am I missing something? Why are you hyping this up? I know how this ends.
Cultists roam the land, harvesting the souls of the islanders for their nefarious goals. They're led by a new leader, Warmblood, who has some questionable ties and a plan to bring glory back to the worm cult.
Why are you hyping up a story that is by all means already over? I know they don't win, you know they don't win, why are we going through this? At least I get to see Vanus Galerion, that ought to be worth it. But you see guys, this is so much more worth it. You get so much more content now. You see, there used to be 2 dungeon updates, giving us 2 dungeons, and 2 zone updates, giving us a big zone and a small zone. That was the old way. The new system gives us 2 dungeon updates and splits the chapter, basically the large update, into 2 smaller zones. Doesn't that mean that we aren't getting a zone DLC now?
Indeed.
Who needs a zone DLC when you have 2 public dungeons, 6 delves, 10, count them, 10 points of interest, and 6 striking locations? Well, strike me in the head with a brick. The zone DLC, basically the smaller out of the 2 zone updates each year, had all the good content, and now it's gone. But it's okay guys, I cannot wait to be a beta tester for the new trial, Community Manager's Revenge.
This vault holds a powerful Daedric relic. It absorbs pain and suffering and transforms that into power.
What is that? How did I get access to the public test server? Well, here's the fun part. I didn't. The trial for the public testing happens at launch. The public test server is just there for content creators. You know, we gotta get those views in, but we got a new server-wide event.
Biggest ever initiative aimed at bringing the entire community together with a single shared cause.
This is really cool and something we've always wanted to do.
To be able to see all the players come together and tackle a challenge that we've never thrown at them before, and that's really going to need all the community behind it.
For the first time, we are going to be inviting all the players on a server to participate in a story together in real time.
Oh yeah, I definitely trust the people who made Cyrodiil look like the backrooms to make a server-wide event. You wanna know what the quote-unquote server-wide event is gonna be? Remember those anchor events from 2014? Well, that, but like bigger, and maybe there's a bar somewhere. 80 euros please, and then another 12 euros a month for the full experience, please. I'm gonna come clean, I'm gaslighting everyone right now. This whole thing, it's not the actual update. The actual update comes in the form of patch notes in the forums. Subclasses. Hey, remember when every single PvPer and PvEer under the sun, I'm sorry, I meant Magnus, would tell Zos to stop reshuffling the combat and the balancing every few months because it led to a total loss of progress and they need to start from scratch again? Well, you see, Zenimax listens to our feedback, guys. We aren't reshuffling the combat this time. We are reshuffling the classes. 6 months of grinding, please. I have read the patch notes. Yes, I'm one of the 12 people that still read them, and I can give you a proper summary of what this update is actually about. So here we go. Everything that is unique about a class is nerfed, and we cracked up a bunch of numbers to make up for the nerfs. Also, buff Arcanist Beam. For some reason, I'm sorry, do they have a personal beef with Templar Spears? I wouldn't even call it a beef by this point. It's like they want to keep Templar mains on their toes, or alternatively, make them play Final Fantasy instead. Which, fair enough, they will anyway, once they read what is about to happen to Radiant Destruction. My condolences. Literally, I am a Nightblade main. I am right there with you guys, all 5 of you that are left. Look, my problem with subclasses isn't that they homogenize building, or that they are impractical to balance around, or that they are another layer of complication to the endless combat Jenga tower. No, these concerns are for people who view ESO combat as a sacred temple, something to be protected and cherished and taken care of. Me, myself, I view it more like a circus tent. I am here for the chaos, and oh boy, there sure is chaos in the public torture server.
Look at the way skills are casting right now, and if you don't know anything about Elder Scrolls, I'm pressing buttons. And it's just like the crazy things are happening. Skills are double casting or not casting at all. You can't tell when they go off. Absolutely no like visuals whatsoever. For example, I just dropped my ultimate and you couldn't even tell. There's 0 visuals for that ultimate dropping. Nothing you could tell there except for that my character moved a little bit. And you know, they said that they were going to put these, they were going to, you know, have these updates go better. And then they made all these huge sweeping changes, and they did some absolutely harebrained things with the DPS. They increased the Arcanist beam to cause more damage. What are you smoking? What are you talking about? And then, you know, all these skills, they clearly didn't spend any time. There was 0 time spent testing anything. You know, it's a public test, but typically you internally test beforehand. There's no way anybody tested this. and said that it was good. Maybe they tested it and told everybody it's broken, it's a problem or whatever, and they just said, we don't care. But either way, no one... But the DPS is just such a dumpster fire right now of like imbalance, and there's only a couple skill lines that everybody's going to be using. And we're supposed to go on here and test things and give them feedback so that hopefully they can fix it for when it goes live for everybody else. And we can't even do that. You literally can't do that. I don't know if these skills are firing most of the time. I don't know if things are working right because there's zero visuals going on that make any sense.
My problem with subclasses is that after this update goes live, you can be sure of two things. One, for the next year at least, you're gonna have to change everything, weapon, armor, enchantments, and you're gonna have to keep changing them because you know for a fact that they aren't done with this. And two, this is content now. What? You think anyone gives a damn about generic public dungeon number 333, fourth one to your left? No, this is the content. Credit card only please, and don't forget about ESO Plus. You wouldn't want to miss the crafting bag. It's like, why even bother with making anything new? They're just gonna change anything in 3 months anyway. They don't understand the concept of no one wants to play with a ticking bomb. Don't worry, I know for a fact exactly what they will nerf, so you can build around it from the start. When this all goes live, basically, lean closer to me please, this information is classified. Everything you will come up with that one can describe as fun, yes, whatever is left, that's getting nerfed. Everything else is chill. I don't know, maybe buff Arcanist and rework Adric Spear again. And secondly, I can safely say that if you were to start ESO right now, from scratch, dear viewer, it might take you about a year to be able to go to a difficult trial or not get one-shotted in PvP. And then, after you grind, you'll be subject to the whims of the patch notes like the rest of us. Join us, the 10 losers that still read the patch notes. Oh, and pro tip, if you see a developer's comment with a click to show option, click on it and read it. It's always either a peak comedy or a nothing statement. Either way, it's funny to me. Here, let me give you an example. Here are the comments about butchering Radiant Destruction. Now that subclassing is here, we're adjusting some numbers and functionality on this execute to give it more defined strengths and weaknesses, in hopes that it doesn't eclipse other execute options. The higher commitment, time and cost per tick should ensure that it has slightly more risks with channeling it. The base damage is increasing for cleaner math, while the execute scaling is being adjusted so it doesn't outright beat other executes, while maintaining the power fantasy of melting very low health enemies. Lastly, we're making this execute dodgeable as an exception to improve some of the counterplay in PvP. So basically, subclassing is definitely not homogenizing the game. If you disagree with me, banned for racism. Ah yes, what every Templar asked for, the butchering of one of their most fun skills to appease a new system we just came up with. I have a question. They keep yapping and yapping about, oh, you can make a build that is yours and creative and unique and what have you, which no you can't. 10 different healing spells are still the same healing spell, and anything that is slightly unique about any skill or class, well, don't get attached to that thing. It's probably not staying in game for long. They are Mehrunes Dagon cultists. They have to destroy stuff. Now, a decent question throughout all this, how can developers keep up with the combat at this point? They don't. They don't play the game. My hand on the Mysterium Xarxis. 90% of you can easily clean them in a 1v1. Which brings us to the next point. Late last year, they introduced an update to the Battleground system, and to celebrate the update, they hosted a bunch of Battleground streams where the lead PvP developer played with different members of the community. Now, to say that this stream was enlightening would be an understatement. I didn't know this stream was happening until after it happened, and so when I saw the VOD, I was overcome with a feeling of equal parts enlightenment and madness. The developers for ESO are turning me into Shiogorath. I'm gonna give him some context. It's a live stream, so you can't pay too much attention, and I'm not gonna judge him as if he's a top tier player, though I definitely should. I'm gonna judge him as a normal player. Well, first of all, the build is sus at best. I would put it like this. You wouldn't see me running a healer in a battleground with a sword and shield and presumably light armor, but even if I did, he doesn't seem to know how to weave attacks. He doesn't seem to know that heavy attacks restore resources. 90% of his jabs are piercing nothing, and he doesn't know how to move properly. And most of the time he's just standing there, not even menacingly. And I can keep going on about this. He doesn't seem to know how to block either. Most of the time he's just holding his shield at nothing, which is preventing him from regenerating stamina. And he seems to be misclicking in a way. He keeps casting abilities at nothing. At least I can hope that he just messed up his controllers and is just firing and clicking the wrong things. And at that point, I figured it out. Oh, that's why they keep changing everything. They are not some kind of strategic masterminds reshuffling the combat in an attempt to create some kind of perfection. They are infants bashing Legos together, hoping that something sticks. Also, here is this lovely piece of insight from someone who was there for it. I will let you make of this what you will, though we will come back to it later.
Chat was in slow mode for most of the stream, and I got to see so many people typing in chat, and I have never seen so many messages get deleted. Yes, I do want to start off by saying, if your message is rude and nasty in any way, I kind of feel, yes, you should have your message deleted. Yes, I agree with that. But if you say something in a respectful manner that's kind of constructive criticism or something like that, and you still get your message deleted, bro, I am so tired of ZOS and Bethesda, whatever the Bethesda part about it. Basically, it's just ZOS at this point. I'm so tired of ZOS basically treating all PvPers like they're the redheaded stepchild, and they're just like, well, just be happy that we're doing anything for you. I feel like Harry Potter just like chilling underneath the staircase as a PvPer, and they're like, oh, well, here, look, at least you have a place to stay. It's so crazy to me. They're just, every time I swear, at least 1 out of every 5 to 10 messages got deleted, which is crazy in a stream like that. Like, that is wild.
Now, class, let's explore the outcome of incompetence plus unwillingness to learn plus censorship. 2 months ago, as of the time of making this video, Zenimax introduced something called Vengeance Campaign for Cyrodiil. Basically, it was Cyrodiil without any armor, complex skills, important skill lines, as well as all of these. Was it fun? Kinda. Was it more stable?
Yes! Yes! Yeah!
Who would have thought it, that if you were to disable 70% of the features of your game, it runs smoother? Let's see the comment section under the Q&A of the VOD, introducing this event. I mean, finally, Zenimax is taking decisive action to fix Cyrodiil. I'm sure everyone will be just as excited and positive. They didn't talk about actual PvP specifics in this video at all. Functionally true, by the way. Why the fuck would you ruin the PvP? You already ruined the battlegrounds, now you wanna ruin Cyrodiil as well. Wheeler and Lambert need to never touch an MMO again. Biggest bozos you could ever work with. You lazy bumps hide the cool shit behind a paywall, then can't even make sure that the glowing effects don't randomly turn off. I've been constantly having to sheath and unsheath my shield to make it glow again for years. These are the polite ones. The rest are either timestamps or where is test 6 comments. I'm sure the top comment will be something civil. Can we please get rid of Wheeler? He's useless and he's stealing his paycheck. He knows nothing about PvP and doesn't even play it. Aww. Dude, Wheeler, they love you. Let me be clear about something. I don't agree with the opinion that you should fire people. Developers need to be developing the things they are good at. If there isn't a single person in your team that knows how PvP works, hire someone that does. Don't mismanage your own development team. Also, could you imagine being the lead combat developer for this game? Oh my god, what a nightmare. And in the stream, he goes out of his way to mention his thought process and his methods for testing Cyrodiil.
Internally. With our QA team as well as various devs and even our engineers. We've all been in there messing around with this thing. I've been doing weird stuff like alt F4ing the game mid-combat and crashing my computer and yanking my network cable. I've been doing all kinds of that stuff to be like, hey, can my character get messed up?
And it's great stuff. He's genuinely trying his best. It's just that there's a level of disconnect between departments and between the community and the developers themselves. There is no way anyone who is in charge of combat looked at the state of PvP and Cyrodiil and balancing in general and then thought to themselves, yes, this is a great time for subclasses. Yes, right after introducing scrying as well. This strikes me as a creative director's decision or a higher-ups decision occasion to sell a chapter. Oh, sorry, I meant a seasonal pass. If we established just now that there's too many complicated abilities going on in Citadel ruining performance, then what's gonna happen when subclasses goes through and everyone just slots in the most broken abilities? Oh, my man Wheeler. I feel like the fans will have more to say then. Again, I do not condone this. This guy is genuinely doing his best with the mess he's been given. And yeah, it's obvious that he's bad at PvPing. Maybe we need to get him a coach. And yes, deleting chat obviously looks bad. I'm sure it wasn't him who did it. If I had to guess the actual reason why all this is happening, it would be because they're trying to do way too much with way too little given to them. They even mentioned that they are very vulnerable to DDoS attacks. At this point, one cannot help but wonder, what does the ESO server room actually look like? I was so curious that I infiltrated Zenimax's office, sneak my way into the server room. Ha, alas, finally, I can learn why Citadel never works. I enter the room and it's just a triangular room, a corner, one might say, and there's no server anywhere, no cables or anything. There are only 4 books placed on columns made of marble. Oh, alas, these must be the manuals. So I open the books, Mythic Dawn commentaries. Now here is the deal, right? All of it was just the tame stuff. It only goes downhill from here. From here on out, we enter the wacky zone. Before even that though, Ithelia. Before we get into the terrible stuff, I want to dedicate a small moment to talk about my beautiful Queen of Fates Unwritten, Ithelia. Man, Ithelia, I tell you, she was advertised as a brand new Daedric Prince. She was front and center of advertising. 2 years worth of main zone stories. Not that that says much.
When the documents were in place, Buford, you listening? Now get this. That's when the subcommittee had to reallocate the funds.
And after all that, she looks like she's been hitting dabs every day for the past 2 years. This is a real story I have to tell about Ithelia, the new Daedric Prince, of course. Don't you forget that. This is the first Daedric Prince introduced since Gigolac. The stakes are high here. So when I uploaded the video of Ithelia on my channel, I showed it to a friend who is clueless about ESO and Elder Scrolls lore. He just plays Skyrim on occasion. I showed that man a single moment of Ithelia talking. I think it was her trying to explain the many paths, and he just looks at me with a straight face and says, I would never play this game. I asked why straight away, to which he responded, this looks terrible. In a single moment, a single person realized what an entire group of people did not. This right here isn't the next Gigolac. This is the next OD victim of fentanyl. And visually, she's not only bad design-wise, she's bad to look at technically-wise. Say the engine is outdated and you can make her have long wavy hair. Fair enough. Can you play around with that idea instead of ignoring the issue? And this is the last time I will ever talk about Ithelia. Sorry everyone, it's just that I think that after further soul searching, I have developed strong feelings for Ithelia. She's just so attractive and well designed. One eye looking dead at me and the other one looking at the corner of the room. Marry me, Ithelia. We can live happily ever after in the fields of Dashan and eat Kwama eggs for breakfast. Vincent is gonna fix her. Don't worry guys. Why am I bringing this up? Recently, Zenimax released an ESO Direct to celebrate the community a little bit and introduce the new zone. Ironically, the best thing about the Direct was hearing the behind the scenes about characters like Abnatharn and Cadwell. You know, the actually good and well-written characters.
Well, Abnatharn is, he's a very old wizard.
He is the Grand Chancellor of the Imperial Elder Council, and he's a battle mage without equal.
He can be charming and ruthless, but hugely intelligent, very much in control. He's all the things that the actor voicing him is not.
Anyway, the actual Direct starts and it's people saying how excited they are and the need for innovation and the incredible quests that have been implemented into the game.
What excites me about the future of ESO is that we are trying new things.
I'm very excited about all the quests and story content that we have coming out.
The need for innovation was something that we kept returning to.
To us, change applies equally to both new content and existing content.
And it's like, I know you're passionate, and I wish I could share in your passion for storytelling, but I can't. The visuals were outdated last decade. There is no reward for anything, and it's painfully easy. I know you're passionate, but can you try and make someone else feel passionate as well? You don't make 2 public dungeons, 6 delves, and other blah 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 for X amount of years without liking it. I guess. Maybe you do, I don't know. But can you please give us a reason to go through them? Because they don't look good, they are static, they are boring, there is no reward, and there's no difficulty. And 95% of the stories are incredibly unassuming. I know you're passionate, but can you maybe try to make the community feel passionate as well? Even if you pour your heart and soul into the writing, how is anyone supposed to appreciate this? Do something different.
I think there's going to be lots of fun surprises for players.
Yep, called it. Mehrunes Dagon worshippers, there's the shrine. This was just a pet peeve. Now let us talk about the obnoxious stuff. This is the last time that I will talk about the Crown Store and the Seals of Endeavour in a video. I'm mostly gonna build on stuff that I've already said, but I will give the context and additional information. And while I'm saying all this, remember, 80 plus 12 a month. Basically, every time you ask yourself, why are there no rewards for the overworld content, and why do so many things look outdated, the answer is 1000% because the assets go to the Crown Store. The game is pay to win, no matter what people tell you. It is also pay to look good. The Crown Store is the only thing in game that gets constant development. Let that sink in. The Crown Store is the only thing in game that gets constant development. I didn't talk about it in the larger video, but so much of the content space around this game is just showcasing the Crown Store and what is coming to the Crown Store. This is scary to me. I'm terrified. This tumor of a store is everywhere, in-game and out. You will see the cash shop before you log into the game. You will see it while trying to log into the game, and you will see it when you play the game. You will take quests from the Crown Store marked as free. You will see new animations in the Crown Store. You will get married in the Crown Store. The Crown Store will be there for you when your partner eventually cheats on you, and in the end, your funeral and burial will be held in the Crown Store. And it worked. I see it again and again. People treat the Crown Store like it's actual content. People, this isn't content. It's the reason the game is failing, and it keeps the game failing. The first prerequisite to playing this game is how you deal with the Crown Store. It's like a stat check, but for impulsiveness. Either you will learn to recognize it and look past it, or you will inevitably throw your wallet at it. Essentially, the game's difficulty doesn't come in the form of skill checks. It comes in the form of an impulse control. The deep, meta-breaking lore of ESO isn't dissolving into the image of God. It's dissolving into the image of the Crown Store. And I will say it again. It worked. For so many people, this has worked. For every one person who interacts with the patch notes, there are approximately more than 2,000 people who interact with overpriced pixels at the Crown Store. And then there are the I feel like every time I talk about this game, the Seals of Endeavour comes up. This is the last time I'll talk about them. So, a new system gets introduced to allow players to get Crown Store items for doing even more boring quests in the overworld. To not do the math again for a third time, a commenter on my ESO video googled it, and as it turns out, you are better off breeding a horse in real life than expecting to get a high-end mount in the Crown Store. And given that these items rotate, because remember, we have to get FOMO in there somehow, I would say breeding an actual horse is the more stable option. Listen, everything I have said so far is bad, but I don't consider it toxic. Now is where we get into the toxic territory. Before the Endeavours were brought to the live server, they kept the ratios needed for the rewards hidden from the testers. And for the first week after the system was released, the rewards for doing the dailies were placed artificially higher than what would go on to become the norm. And from that day forth, I no longer give the ESO developers any goodwill, for on that day, PTS stopped meaning public test server, and it now means peace tasting server. They suck at communication. Honestly, this is the thesis of this video. Zenimax Online Studios can communicate with their player base. It's either question dodging, silly talk, or what is exceedingly becoming the case, blatant gaslighting.
Here's the thing. We pay thousands of dollars for this game, and it's frustrating to see new Crown Store items when bugs don't get fixed. So, Captain Crunch, you don't want artists fixing engineering bugs. And you don't want engineers fixing design bugs, and so on and so forth. So the Crown Store is cosmetics, right? Like, completely different teams. What the Crown Store team does isn't the same as what all the other teams do, so there's no overlap there. Crown Store doesn't take resources away from the rest of the team to prevent them from fixing bugs. So that's a pretty, I don't want to say weak argument or statement, because most players don't know that, don't understand that, but they don't overlap in any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, if you really wanted, we could throw all the artists we have on trying to fix engineering bugs, but things aren't going to get any better.
Rich, no one said that the designers should fix bugs. No one said you should fire the designers and hire coders. What people are saying is this: maybe put the work of the artists somewhere that isn't behind a paywall, on a product that you already have to pay 3 digits to access properly. And what makes this so stupid, and dare I say goofy, is that if they knew enough about their game, they might have been able to gaslight the player base successfully. But the players know the game better than they do, so it just comes across as just really bad gaslighting. Which brings us to the Elder Scrolls Online podcast. Finally, exclusive behind-the-scenes information about the game. Surely they will say something useful, right? Right? Nah. None of that. It's 75% silly talk and 25% generic gaslighting. Let's comment on some bits and pieces, shall we?
That's one of the reasons this relationship makes so much sense, is that you have those stories, but then I also truly appreciate how you in ESO and the community are like very much kind of funny. We don't want assholes. We don't want toxicity. We don't need that. That's not what this is about. And sure, that means that, you know, your audience is this smaller group perhaps, but it is this fact that, like, no, they're there for the right reason.
What do you define as an asshole exactly? Is this video the video an asshole would make? If so, I'm sorry. I guess I'm only human after all. But I get the vibe that the definition of an asshole here might be a bit different. Were the people getting their chat deleted on the Battleground stream assholes as well? Maybe. But if you consider certified asshole behavior an ESO community manager harassing an ESO streamer on TwitchCon, well then, stay tuned. We have an incredible show lined up for you.
Especially when it comes to building zones, it takes about 18 months to do that. And so when players gave us feedback on the last zone, we've already been hard at work on the next one.
Sure.
So it's really the next one that players start to see some of that feedback.
Can you elaborate, Rich? Can you tell us one piece of feedback that you have applied to the zones in the last 7 years? Cause I'm not seeing any difference between Morrowind and the West Weald, other than Morrowind had better story.
Before console launch, our numbers weren't fantastic, but we had like a population that was probably 30% of what we thought it was going to be.
Sure.
But that 30% logged in every day and played obsessively. And much of what we learned from that point going forward is look at what they're doing. Don't tell them what to do. Just sit back, watch what they're doing, and do more of that, and facilitate them to do more of what they want to do.
And to reward those players that gave us a shot and kept coming back after the terrible release, we have abandoned the main feature that they signed up for, ruined it, and now we are dodging their concerns. This was so easy to fix. Like, genuinely, this was so easy to fix. Either make a smaller PvP zone with a gimmick, like the Imperial City, or give them more rewards. They did none of that. That's how much they love their old player base.
ESO is more than a game. It's a virtual world where you belong.
It feels so weird listening to their promotional material as well. This is a virtual world that you belong. Just make sure you're not an asshole. The definition of the term may vary. If you're a sicko, we don't care about you. Get out. Leave. Scram. Now let us go and explore some of the characteristics of these toxic players so that we may finally know if this is a game that you and I belong to. But before that, I must give you people a word of power, a dragon shout, an Alnafek spell, a word so lethal that even when you utter it, you must do so only in a whisper, for it is so edged in its utter power that even to speak it without being careful can cause the tongue to bleed and the mouth to burn. Shock jock. Shock jock. A shock jock is a disc jockey on a talk radio show who expresses opinions in a deliberately offensive or provocative way. Yes, that is a term that was used in 2020 something. I didn't even know this term was a thing until I heard the ESO developers say it. I could play around with this idea and make jokes about it, but this is a word of power, and its power is that it is awfully generic and easily applicable to anything you don't like, just like the term asshole. So I will tackle this statement head on and then start making jokes again. So, listen up. What I have been saying throughout this video isn't provocative because I am presenting things in a genuinely provocative way. They are provocative because your actions are provocative. Everything presented here are either the actions of a company, the actions of its members, or me cracking up jokes to lighten up the mood. Anyone can make a 10-minute dry video on a monotone voice explaining how you fucked up. But believe it or not, the person making the video isn't the one who fucked up. It's you. Take it like this. I can either say you are exhibiting destructive behavior that is destroying both your game and your community, or I can say you are a Meruns Dagon cultist. Which one of these two do you think makes the conversation less shock jockey? And again, I am not giving you any goodwill. I have been giving you goodwill ever since the... I'm all out of goodwill. That's what I'm trying to say. All you get at this point is jokes to make light of your attitude. And with that, I believe I have defeated the shock jockey allegations, if that's a thing. But I do enjoy showing examples. Examples provide an ideal simulacrum of a behavior which establishes the truth behind a mentality. We can throw terms around like shock jock and toxic and asshole and what have you, but these are just terms, broad terms. What are the specifics? Who are these elusive assholes? Teabagging is toxic. According to the newest community guidelines on teabagging, the following is an official statement made by a real human. I wish it was AI. Hey all, we wanted to address the recent conversation around teabagging and proper etiquette around the action in-game. In the past, we have noted that context matters when teabagging in-game and when responding to that action. Teabagging in-game is generally not a direct violation of terms of service. However, when an impacted player asks you to stop and you refuse, that is when we have crossed into the targeted harassment territory. If this happens and the impacted player reports the incident with video proof, then an investigation will open for terms of service violation for targeted harassment. This can lead to possible suspension or permanent ban. So please take requests to stop seriously. Brother, I ain't taking anything coming out of your mouth seriously, I'll tell you that. For those reporting a potential violation, please make sure you provide a video that makes it clear that you asked the user who teabagged you in-game to please stop the action and continued action after the ask. My guy Kevin, you're gonna lose your shit when I show you DaVinci Resolve. This is why I raise an eyebrow when they say, oh, we're making a statement against assholes. Oh yeah, they are the assholes who need to be kept away from the community, not the people enacting a Byzantine legislation that requires easily manufactured evidence. No dog, you tripping. Those aren't the assholes. It's the person pressing shift on top of someone's pixels. They are the issue. No, I'm fine. I'm not the problem. Also, again, going back to not knowing how to communicate. Dude, Streisand effect, for fuck's sake. And it goes back to not respecting the people's money. Imagine losing 100 plus euros because you pressed shift on top of someone's pixels in a battleground. See, I would like to think of myself as a mostly well-adjusted human. When this would happen to me, when someone would teabag me in the Imperial City or Citadel, I would always interpret it as someone saying GG. But in hindsight, I am just naive. That right there? No. that wasn't them just saying GG. That was them harassing me for not min-maxing enough. No, what I should have done is post PvP, who needs to win anyway, find the specific person that teabagged me, if I can even manage to do so, and just whisper to them, can you maybe not do it again? And then hope they see it in PvP chat, in Cyrodiil. Definitely a practical solution. And if they dare do it again, I don't care if they read the message or not, if they dare do it again, if they press shift on me one more time, guess what? It's done. It's over. Better kiss those 2 years and 200 plus insert local currency. Goodbye. Welcome to Ban World. I'll see you all three in ranked League of Legends going, oh, I'm feeding. What do they think teabagging is? It's incredible how their mind works. I always thought it was like an inside joke in PvP. I just want to have a psychologist appointment with someone who has quote-unquote experienced teabag-based harassment. I'll pretend to be the psychologist, by the way, and just show them ink plots of a saturated teabag. How does this image make you feel? Breaks out into a Winter Soldier episode. Oak Soul, incapacitating strike on full stack plus fast rider. Where are my alliance points? Where are my babies? Where are they? What else could we count as shock jock content?
As you watch this video, we are dismantling the ESOU Discord server. Many of the ESOU projects and websites, like the ESOU podcast, will be terminated.
The clip you just watched was from a YouTuber/streamer called Nefas, and it was, for me at least, the straw that finally broke the camel's back and led to this video being created. The things he talks about and the demeanor of the developers towards the community, well, after one point, it's no longer just antisocial or bad communication. It borders on unhinged and demeaning. The video starts off very strong, talking about update 35, the worst update the game ever got. Essentially, everyone's progress was bent. People were screaming at the public torture server not to release this update, but they did anyway, and it was horrible. But don't worry guys, Rich Lambert is here to ignore all of your feedback and tell you that you are the problem for the developers not listening to what you have to say. The key word when it comes to communicating with the developers of ESO is professionalism, and that no matter how much professionalism you want to give to them, they will not give it back. They will only give it back so long as you don't get out of line from their arbitrary standards of what classifies as professional behavior, which of course only applies to the players and not them. Rich Lambert can release an update which fucks up the game, ignores feedback before the update, and then he can patronize the community. But the moment you make a video to talk about this issue, or heaven forbid, communicate the blatant lack of communication present here, well, guess what? You're the problem. You are ruining this community, and you are acting out of line.
There's a video I made called The Worst MMO Update Ever that shows my immediate reaction after we realized just how much most groups would be forced to regress and lose weeks, in some cases months, of progression. It was bad. And the next day after that raid, after that video was published, I get asked to do a phone call by a Zenimax Online Studios CM or community manager. The phone call itself was super awkward. There was a lot of hesitation in the air when it was implied someone higher up had tapped the CM and asked them to talk to me about that video. I was asked nervously if I still wanted to work with them as a ESO content creator, and I was like, sure, I still love the game despite its issues, and I respect the developers. Then I was given a weird lecture about how responsibility comes with power as a content creator, and that I should not make shock jockey content like Howard Stern does, how I needed to be constructive and not emotional. I was warned, or maybe threatened in retrospect, about how the gaming industry was small and other companies wouldn't work with a content creator who was unprofessional. I was told I shouldn't say things that I wouldn't say to a developer's face in person.
I love that. I love that so much. Oh, you made a video talking about the problems of the game? Well, let us respond in a professional manner by applying mob tactics. Also, what does the gaming industry is small and other companies won't work with an unprofessional content creator mean? Are you seeing the same game industry that I'm seeing? Also, you have to point it out. The blatant lack of self-awareness, subtly threatening a content creator over a video, which, by the way, I have watched, and let me tell you, it's a very tame video. I don't know what they'll do if they stumble across this video, and then immediately just make it personal, like a child. Hey, if the patch notes suck so much, why don't you say it to my face? Buddy, actual mob tactics. It's like I'm trying to open up a restaurant at a shady part of town, and one day a ZOS community manager comes up to my restaurant, 2 goons on each side, everyone is dressed in black, and they just tell me, oh my, what a beautiful establishment you have here. You know, it would be a real shame if someone just wasn't constructive enough.
I was kind of in shock as well, because this was the first time since I joined their creator program in 2020 to basically censor my content, despite the ESO stream team guidelines saying, yeah, you don't have to be a cheerleader, but you should be constructive, which I was. And this was when things got extremely lonely and tremendously stressful for me, to the point that I got shingles for the first time in my life, and I had to go to the hospital.
Imagine your content creator program being so epic and lit that it just sends a dude to the hospital. Like, but you know what? Somehow, someway, this wasn't the worst part. The TwitchCon incident was the worst part.
Fire hazard, and then we all have to leave, so like we're all going to be late. The other thing I want to say is, you know, this is TwitchCon, but we would appreciate no live streaming.
Really?
Really? Yeah, really.
What about Payne's DJ?
Well, Payne is streaming himself. That's different.
From here?
I'm being serious.
No, from
Listen,
here.
we're not going to start until Nevis puts his camera on.
All right.
The pressure is on. Bye, chat.
But he's streaming from this back, just a heads up.
We're not streaming from anywhere.
They don't know how to communicate. They are incapable. I'm not even here to discuss whether streaming at a place called TwitchCon is acceptable or not. Spoilers, it is. And if you don't want to be on a live stream, maybe don't go somewhere called TwitchCon. But beyond even that, there were 1,000 different ways to convey this message, and they still went with the public humiliation route, and the timing and the smirk as well. What an absolute power trip. If I ever hear another word about John Hockey or Shock Jerky or Wimbly Wombly content and professionalism, I would just look at the person talking to me, smile, then go with the classic smirk and say,
I'm being serious.
Of course, in a condescending way. And then if I'm feeling extra, ESO farm represent. Oh, Kotho, you're being too harsh. She was just, you know, being a little sassy, but not teabagging sassy. More like laid-back principal during a holiday sassy. Good theory, good theory. Let's see how they responded to this after the fact.
I get approached by the community manager for a one-on-one conversation, which prompts my friends to go somewhere else in the venue, and I get asked if I was angry about being told I couldn't stream, or it was how I was asked to not stream. I mentioned that my anger is due to a buildup of many things, and not just this one instance, which just seems to be a pattern of being dismissive of me as a human being. The community manager then offered me 4 minutes to go over all those things, and I just laughed in their face, and I'm like, yeah, no, 4 minutes is not enough. Then I'm offered 8 minutes, as they are needed for the other activities of the event. What ends up happening is about 18 to 20 minutes of me going off on almost everything I have mentioned up until this point in this video. I mentioned that people are telling me to burn bridges after that incident, and I'm cautioned yet again that the gaming industry is small and that basically I wouldn't be able to get opportunities.
Dude, the problem with ESO community managers is that it's just, they're too good. That's the issue, they're too good. I love this so much. Hey there, little pal. Are you feeling humiliated and a bit down after being publicly humiliated? You do? Oh, you do? Here you go. 4 minutes to explain yourself and why you feel bad. That's right. And a 1,000-word verbal essay about why you're in a bad mood. Just for you, homie. In fact, just because I'm feeling a bit extra today, here is 8 minutes. Look at this guy. Mr. Spoiled out here. That's what you are. And you just know, they didn't listen to anything he said. Everything went in one ear and went out the other. And then, back to the usual bread and butter. Oh, like, the gaming industry is tiny, so basically, if you cross us, you better square up. The blatant lack of self-awareness is what gets me. The fact that it doesn't even click on their heads that everything they are saying about Nephis does not, in fact, apply to him, a disillusioned content creator, but does, in fact, apply to the world's most ill-spoken community managers that I have ever encountered. And I am not saying that Nefas is a saint himself. I am sure that something was miscommunicated from his end too, but what I am saying is that if it were me, I wouldn't even bother trying to explain anything to them. It's like, at this point, why bother? What part of this video, what part of their actions makes it seem like they'll listen to you? But what you can do is you can have fun with it. Oh, you mean I have 8 minutes to talk about my frustrations and you are obligated to listen to me as per your own word? Well, give me a second, community manager. Okay, here's what I have been thinking lately, but before I say it, I would just like to say thank you for this incredible opportunity. I agree that listening to feedback is a crucial cornerstone for every video game developer. So here's what I've been thinking. He was born in the ash among the Velothi, a non-chimer, before the war with the Northern Men. AM came first to the village of the Nechimen, and her shadow was that of Boythia, who was the Prince of Plots, and things known and unknown would fall the— I'm sorry, what is this? Oh, you know, I have been concerned about the 36 sermons of Vivek lately. What do you mean, what does that have to do with ESO? I'm getting there, community manager. But you did tell me that you would have to listen to me for the next 8 minutes. Is that right? Okay then, bear with me. AM took a Nechiman's wife and said, I am the face-snaked queen of the 3-in-1. In you is an image and a 7-syllable spell. AM, according to the codes of Mephala, there is no difference between the theorist and the terrorist. Even the most cherished desire disappears in their hands. This is why Mephala has— This is why you were born of a Nechiman's wife and destined to merge with the simulacrum of your mother, guild and blended in all the arts of the star-wounded east, underwater and in fire and in metal and in ash, 6 times the wise, to become the union of male and female, the magic hermaphrodite, the martial axiom, the sextet of language, and unique in all of violence, and it barely registers. Suspended as it is by treatises written between the original spirits, this should be seen as an opportunity, and in no way tedious, though some would give up, for it is easier to kiss the lover than become one. The lower regions crawl with these souls, caves of shallow treasure, meeting in places to testify by way of extension, when love is only satisfied by considerable, incalculable. I have removed my left hand, and my right, he will say. She said, for that is how I shall win against them. Love alone, and you shall know only mistakes of salt. The wording of the words is amaranth. What do you mean, what does this have to do with ESO? That's the part of ESO that has been concerning me for the past 4 months. Nice shoes, by the way. I really like your style. Don't worry though, if you can't perfectly recite the 36 sermons of Vivek, I have broad alternatives. Okay, here's what I've been thinking lately, dear community manager. The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. They have greatly increased the life expectancy of those of us who live in advanced countries, or for the eclectic Tumblr users, hey, my name is Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway, and I've got long black hair. That's how I got my name, with purple streaks and red tips that reaches my mid-back, and icy blue eyes, like Libby Tears, and a lot of people tell me that I look like Amy Lee. Really, as long as you honk the horn back, you should just do that. What are they gonna do? Ignore your feedback? Destroy the game? And then blame you for it? Brother, that ship has sailed. How did we get here? It wasn't always like this. Rich Lambert used to stream this game, and it was awesome. Now look at us. It's like watching high school drama, but we can't spill any tea during recess because we ban all the tea bags. They even try to control the behavior of their content creators using their creator program.
A few of us, including myself, got moved to the content creator category unilaterally without any conversation, while being told that we will retain many of the same perks as we did in the ESO stream team. But unsurprisingly, that isn't true, as we didn't get the giveaway codes because that was really the only perk of being in the ESO stream team. Never mind the fact that I had applied to be in the stream team long ago and not some other category. I surmise that the omission of perks was intentional, at least for a few of us, so that we were forced to reach out to Zenimax about these codes, because that is the logical route to take as a human if you're curious about what happened to your perks, right? I expected that a potential line of inquiry would probably end up being a conversation about the future or what they expect to see, and that if we fall in line and kowtow and promise to be good little content creators, we get those perks reinstated. And you know what? Based on what I saw happen with a couple content creators who I presume did reach out and get reinstated, it seems I was right about them wanting us to reach out, which showed to me a high degree of social manipulation, which should not be the case if you want genuine communication.
Mind you, these are only fractions of Nefas's video. It gets weirder. Not necessarily worse, but suffice it to say, I don't trust this company. The following thing that I'm about to say is more of a pet theory, but since we're here, we might as well go all out, right? A lot of the times, when I observe the discourse around ESO, it often becomes very self-centric. I see a lot of conversations that oftentimes just boil down to this. Oh, PvP is getting worse. Well, I'm not a PvPer, so I don't care. Oh, the public test server is actually the paracetamol tolerance server. Oh, I don't care. I don't have access to the PTS. Let me give you a direct example. I wanted to check out the reaction to Nefas's video, and it's like, Nefas QS, ESO University, is quitting ESO for good. What are your thoughts? Top comment. I swear, top comment. I am sure we share one or two complaints about the game, but to be honest, I don't really base my enjoyment of a game on personalities within that game's community. I'll just keep on playing as long as I find it fun. Dude, what are you talking about? The points he made in the video, those are the issue, not the fact that he left. The whole discourse is so devoid of talking about the game's condition that made him wanna quit, aka the points brought up in the video, and it seems to mostly focus around the act of quitting, which, to me at least, duh, no one should care. Yet from the discourse I've seen, the points are barely discussed. Why is that? The way I see things, I can't help but wonder if the combination of bad updates, lack of communication, and toxic attitude from the developers is slowly making the community disillusioned with the game and with itself. You could look at what the content creators who are quitting the game are saying. You could compare your experience with theirs and see their concerns and give your feedback to the developers, as they are concerns that might inevitably affect you in the future, either because it is a domino effect or the inevitable lack of population because people are quitting and not enough people are coming in, but because player feedback is used like trash that cannot be recycled at Zenimax Online Studios, and because every community manager's D&D spreadsheet has a -1 on all persuasion checks, none of this can be done. So people just end up developing closed personalities, not really interacting with the community and developing a if it doesn't affect me, I don't care mentality. But don't worry guys, Zenimax Online Studios is coming at us with the solution. How do we grow a game and give it a good reputation when the video of a content creator criticizing the game has about double the views as the 2025 ESO Direct event, which revealed the new chapter? Easy, said Zos. We shall tear the fabric of the universe and rewrite existence itself via the Prolix Tower. You can really tell that the 7-hour video on the Sermons of Vivek really did a number on me. The Prolix Tower supposes that if one possesses knowledge of existence and then convinces everyone around them on a different status quo, then the collective thoughts of the people shape the cosmos and perception becomes reality through hijacking the truth and then twisting it. I have said throughout the video that the ESO developers are actually Mehrunes Dagon cultists, but I now see the error of my ways. They aren't the Mythic Dawn. I would like to apologize and amend my statement. They are, however, the Marukadi Selective, but instead of dancing on top of the White Gold Tower to separate Oreo from Akatosh, they are instead dancing in every single live stream to remind players of how many people make new accounts in this game, somehow thinking that total accounts made equals number of active players.
As over 20 million of you know, it's part of your lives.
Okay, time to get to the actual point of this video. Don't worry, if you skip till the end or just spaced out for an hour, I'm gonna use this outro to make my point abundantly clear, and to do so, a story first. One of my favorite works of literature of all time is a poem called Paradise Lost. It is a wonderful story about Satan's rebellion against God and his plan to corrupt the first humans by sneaking into the garden and giving them the apple. So there's this one point where Satan is in Eden. By all means, he's in a utopia. There is no pain, there is no suffering, there is no sin, and there's no evil. Then the devil starts crying, and he's crying because at that moment he realized something fundamental about his nature, that he was in a place where everything is perfect, and he was still feeling miserable, and so he laments, and he says the following: which way I fly is hell. Myself, I'm hell. You can have the best lore, the best community, the best combat, the best content creators. If you don't know your shit, you're still gonna fuck it all up. No, I'm not saying that Zenimax is Satan, and please don't harass or call for the firing of anyone mentioned in this video. I give this example because it allows me to illustrate my point. No matter how much Rich Lambert calls the community jokey shorkies, walla walla bing bongs, or whatever, and no matter how much the community managers actively manipulate the community, this is by far, and I am not exaggerating, the best community of any MMORPG that I have ever encountered. There is a joke in World of Warcraft circles that when you pay for the next expansion, you are essentially paying to be a beta tester. And they hate this. Well, the Elder Scrolls Online's community has to go through the same thing, and worse. And they are happy to play a neutered version of Citadel just to help out. Patchnote after patchnote of 180-degree changes that will make the vast majority of players of any game just quit. The people testing and commenting on the patch notes are actual saints, literal monks of the great schema for their work, which a lot of times just goes ignored.
Last year at the same time, whenever the PTS, the public test server, went live, where they asked a bunch of us players to go and test things out and give them feedback so that they could make the game better, we all took up that mantle and went and did it. All of us who could. Not everybody can. Sometimes people have, hardware issues or what have you. But we did. And we spent hours and hours of our time to try to help make the thing that we really like better. And for that, we got locked out of the game for over a week for many of us. And just completely overrode our characters, caused all kinds of issues, and it just sucked.
I have never seen developers giving so much shit to the community, Are You Serious style, and ESOFAM represent style, while also gaslighting the community and applying scummy gaming practices. Have you any idea what would happen if that one bald guy finds out about this tomfoolery? I'm talking a 3-hour video and at least 5 shorts. At least. You had something special, and you are actively ruining it with stupid rules that make no sense and by treating us like gum stuck at the bottom of a shoe. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this.
Fortnite Battle Pass.